Hi, scientist. Today we're going to talk about what filled up the balloon. So, when we mix the water, citric acid, and baking soda together, it created a chemical reaction. We know that the balloon on top of the mixture blew up. But why did that happen? It happened because a gas made by the reaction filled up the balloon. You might be wondering, well, how do we know that a gas was made? Let's take a look at this video one more time. I'm going to fast forward to the part where the reaction happens. And what I notice is that on top of the mystery mixture, bubbles are forming. Every time a bubble pops, all of the gas that's inside of it goes up into the container and then up into the balloon. So, what is that gas made of? Well, gas, just like everything else around us, is made of elements. When we looked at the white substances, we found out that they were made of elements. And so, the let's look at this one more time. The white substance elements basically just got rearranged and formed into a gas that was released. But what are the elements made of? Elements and everything else in our universe is made of particles, and particles are the smallest pieces of substances. You can see some particles here filling up the container and then the balloon. Because particles are so small, scientists use models to represent them. And they're so small that you can't even see a particle with a microscope. So usually scientists will use circles to represent particles. Here we have some particles of a solid. Each gray circle is one particle of a solid. We have particles of liquid. Each blue circle is one particle of liquid. And we have particles of a gas. Each red circle is a particle of a gas. Something else you should know is that particles are always moving. Whether you're talking about solid particles that are in your computer, liquid particles in your water, or gas particles in the air around you, they're always moving. And that's kind of a weird idea because we don't necessarily feel the things moving around us. It's because the particles are so small that we don't sense their movement. So check out these models right here. We have a solid, a liquid, and a gas. Which of these models has the fastest moving particles? So gas particles move the most. We can see here in this model that they have the highest kinetic energy. That means the highest energy of movement. Particles in solid move the least. Here we see them just kind of vibrating, and particles in liquids move in between. Let's check out what this means. I have a model to show you. In this model, we see circles. Circles are particles when scientists make models. So here we have some particles in a solid. I can see here that the particles are just vibrating in place. They're not really moving around and they stay in a shape, just like the solids around you stay in their shape. If I change this to a liquid, let's see how the particles change. Okay, particles in a liquid, I definitely see more movement. I see the particles are kind of filling up this container. They're moving around each other. Some are even turning into a gas and going up higher. There's definitely more movement here and more energy. What about in gas particles? Whoa, in gas particles, we can clearly see that the gas takes up a lot more space because the particles are high energy. They're moving around, they're bumping into each other a lot, and they're just bouncing around everywhere. They have a ton of energy. So, again, solid particles, low energy, they're kind of vibrating in place. Liquid particles have a little bit more energy. I see them moving around each other. Gas particles have the most energy. Okay, so let's review what we learned. After the chemical reaction in the mystery mixture, a gas was made. The gas filled up the balloon. And these gas particles had so much energy that they were able to leave the bottom of the container and bounce all the way up into the balloon. We can see that here as well. Here's gas particles filling up a balloon. Okay, let's check for understanding. Answer these questions to see what you learned about particles.